sport came to be.
Right. These are what we've kind of adopted as we race together.
It's like a mannerism.
It's a code.
Right.
It's a code of ethics that we all understand.
That's what I was looking for.
Now, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that seem that haven't learned this rule.
Yeah.
Or how to apply that rule, or that rule applies to them in certain cases, but doesn't apply to them
in other cases.
And we've seen a lot of that, especially the last month or so. Agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I'd say we've seen it all season.
Well, you're right, but I'd say in the last 4, 5, 6 weeks, it's been
intense.
It has, especially in a certain division.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it doesn't matter what type of race car it is.
No, it doesn't.
If you're side by side with somebody, that's great. Race as hard as you want. Keep it clean. Race as hard as you want. If I'm halfway down, my nose is at your door, that's telling you, I've got this position.
Yeah.
This is mine. Don't do anything stupid.
Yeah.
And then if I'm anything farther back than that rear tire and I turn you around, I'm at fault, I'm going to the back. How do I say this? That's a general rule as we race together.
Sure.
Okay. Now, that isn't always what officials see.
And here's the thing is that, we've all heard the saying, and I've said it before, 8 tires make more traction than 4.
Sure.
I get it. That's heads-up racing. When you can put – if there's contact and you're in your zone 1, where you're basically bumper to bumper, your bumpers line up at the front, and there's a little bit of contact, that's racing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start talking, the nose of your car is at the driver's door or right at the driver's compartment of the car that's outside of you. At that point,
that car better not come down on me.
That car better not come down on me. You get even farther back, then you really got to get out of it.
Right. If you're the inside car,
correct,
you need to back out, be smart about how you're doing it. There is rubbing. There is, and it's part of the game.
You're going to trade paint. Because what is it Cole Trickle's crew chief always said?
He says he didn't hit you, he didn't bump you, he nudged you. And rubbing he rubbed you.
Yeah.
And rubbing's son is racing. That is true to an extent.
Yeah.
Okay, now there's people that have a whole different idea of what rubbing is.
Yeah. It's not running over.
It's not running over. It's not taking my nose and clipping somebody with my right front of my nose in the left rear and turning them around and saying, oh, came down on me. Nope, that guy's got position.
Yeah. It had push. I don't know.
Doesn't matter. You're at fault.
Well, in all reality, too, it doesn't matter if this is, we're looking at the left side of the car on here.
Right. The graphic on Moxie Media, you can go check it out. It's got 3 zones broke down on this car. We're talking about you're in a car racing this car, and you're on the inside of the car that we're showing.
Yeah.
Now, where does this apply if we're talking outside? We're talking about the right side of this car. How does it apply then?
I don't think it's any different.
I don't think it is either.
No. I don't think it's any different.
Because I just flipped it over and looked through it. It's the same.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, my gosh.
See? I think that you got to be smart about how you do this. I mean, we've seen some bad wrecks because guys want to get a little too aggressive at times they shouldn't, or guys think they've got position and they're trying to hold it, when in reality, it's not your spot.
Yep.
I can tell you right now, it's a mistake that every racer makes. I've done it in the karts, and I've
done it on the freeway.
Well, no, listen, I've done it racing karts, and we're talking high-speed karts, no roll cages. Did it to a good buddy of mine. We were getting a little aggressive, Like I said, there's no friendships on the track.
Right.
And I'll even put his name out there because I know he won't get mad. Chris Trickle, one of the best guys I've ever ran against in all the years I've ran karts. I can go door to door with this dude and just have the best time racing. We got a little aggressive one day. Tempers were flaring. We're racing for I think we were racing for second actually. And he's doing a little bump and rub, and I had the inside spot, and he came down on me. I kept it to the floor. I kept it to the floor knowing, okay, I'm not at fault. This is going to be my spot.
Yep.
Well, when I came around, a particular flagman didn't see everything that happened, and guess what? Guess who got sent to the back?
Let me guess.
Not the guy that got spun. I'll tell you that. But, You can argue it all day long. Go look at that graphic on Moxie. I want you guys to post your opinions. I want you. There's comment sections there. Agree, disagree. Give me thoughts. Give me circumstances. Talk about it. Put a conversation there underneath that, because I think it's a great graphic and I think it's something that needs to be discussed.
Just for some etiquette,
which we're seeing a whole lot less of lately.
Yeah, a lot less.
And I'm not. It's not. We're not naming drivers. We're talking about just the aggressive style in general. There's some people here that can look at that graphic and learn from it.
Yep.
I mean, Dom, you're a racer.
Oh yeah, I was. Like when I'm with one of my teammates, it's one thing. I was with Sam and the Ranger. Yeah, I was turning off of him. I was doing all kinds of stuff.
Right.
We're buddies. It was almost a joke. I got a flat tire over it. Bad me.
See?
And it was for first in the trophy dash.
Right.
But if I would have been doing it right, probably wouldn't have happened.
But I don't know a racer that hasn't made that mistake.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's part of, number one, it's part of a learning process.
Absolutely.
And then there's times where you know better and you need to think, and that's where this general topic comes in, where people aren't thinking about what you're doing and the
repercussions that can come from it.
Well, here's a good valid point from Doug Davenport. He says, plain and simple. Light that up again. Plain and simple. He says, if you can't see the nose of the car next to you on either side in your peripheral vision, the spot is still yours. And I agree to that. I agree.
And that's the thing, is we're going to be, when we start talking late models and, sportsmen, supers, everybody's deck height's going to be roughly at about the same.
For the most part.
So you've got to show color.
Mm-hmm.
What's the easiest way to show color on those cars?
On the inside.
Your sail panel.
Well,
yeah.
Make a pass, get a run on them, make the pass, and go to town.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when you're chasing that 111 through traffic.
No, well, that's true, because he went by a lot of people. But, it's just something that we talk about in the tower when there's races going on. We see things happening, and you got to question, what is this particular driver doing? Why are they... There's some things we see from our vantage point looking down on the racetrack that the average fan doesn't see sitting, even just 20 feet below us. But there's some things we see up in the tower, and it's like, what are they thinking? Why would you do that?
Oh, I told you that the first time I went up there. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a completely different one, from the driver's seat to the back grandstands.
Oh, my gosh.
To the Moxie Tower.
To the Moxie Tower.
One thing he said, which we've talked about a million times, he goes, wow, you can see things up here happen before they happen. Yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
You can, because you're looking down on it, and you can see the lines. You can literally see the lines.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's
pattern.
crazy to watch. And we see things happen that way before they happen. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
You know what's coming. You can kind of see who's doing what and how they're doing it. But I think this is a great graphic, and I'm glad that Dom brought it up, because when you break that car down in zones, which we know those zones, but you put it in front of you in a graphic form like that.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty self-explanatory.
It absolutely is.
Very simple.
Very simple, and really hard to argue with.
Yeah.
It's no different looking at it here that we are on a computer screen as it is in a race car. You know those zones.
Mm-hmm.
You know better. You know what to do and what not to do.
Exactly.
So think about what you're doing out there, right, Joel? I mean, you were kind of, this was a topic you were wanting to hit on.
It's one that needed to be said. I mean, we talk about it. We're getting down to the tail end of the season here. We've got Bud Nats coming up. We've got championship night at Willamette Speedway. But still, let's get back to where we all came from. This is
racing 101.
It is. Show color.
Yeah.
And make sure it's color, not just this little toothpick size piece of sheet metal. No, show some
better.
Color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That middle zone is the most important. And
especially, too, and, when you start talking, you're going on the inside of people. Okay, we know especially in the mods and especially in the late models, we know how those cars lift with those 4-bar suspensions. Driver gets up there, well, it's kind of hard to see, especially if they're, with the seats turned the way they are in those cars because of the rear steer associated with them and everything else. It's hard to see out of the left side of those cars. So if you're going to show color, make it bright and show color.
Yeah, identify.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing about that
target acquisition
There you go.
is, and I've heard drivers say this, my seat didn't allow me, the containment seats. I've heard drivers say this. I didn't see him because my seat.
Oh.
Okay, maybe you need to think about something. I mean, you need to, for your own safety, need to make sure you've got a pretty good peripheral vision.
Yeah.
Okay. I like look at look at this. Look, Joel, I've heard this excuse. Okay. Now I did see. I think it was a Butler built seat we were looking at the other day online. We were talking about seats, and it had the bar that came out and down. It was like a roll bar, but it was all open for the vision purpose. And I thought, what a great idea. You see a lot of these containment seats are closed. That argument is to me completely invalid. My seat, right? I mean, see this? You look right there. This solid seat here. Where are we at here? On the Joyo seating.
This is the Joyo.
So you look at a full custom seat. I can see how that could limit it.
Well, but that's the NASCAR seat.
Right.
This is the seat that most guys are running in the dirt cars. They've got that big D-shaped
right. But you can
head
see
support.
through
You
it.
can see through it. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to say it. If you can't see because of your seat, you need to get a new damn seat.
Right.
Because if you can't see and you're racing, I mean, you're piloting a 22,000-plus pound machine around a racetrack going 70 miles an hour, and if you can't see out of the side of your car, I mean,
that's a weapon.
It is, and you're
can't
putting your
see.
own life, your own safety.
Exactly. You can't see, therefore, if you can't see out the left side, you can't see out the right side, so you can't see the wall, you can't see the caution lights, you can't see if you're going to pinch somebody up in the wall. You shouldn't be frickin' racing if you can't see out of your damn seat.
No.
Get a new seat.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand.
Honestly,
I understand
I agree.
the view
it
out
was
of your
one of the
navel.
lamest. It was one of the lamest excuses I've ever heard. Was, I didn't see him because of my seat. Wait a second. You can hear that car. You got a pretty good idea where that car is based upon where it's touching you, and you can feel it. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're an experienced racer, should know better.
I mean, come on. I know the view out of your navel is very narrow, but give me a break here.
Yeah.
That's just complete.
Yeah, I know. I just kind of. I
might have to walk away for a minute, Corey. You got me ticked now.
But think about it. Just look at the graphic on Moxie Media Promotions. Go check it out. The Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3. I think it's Racing 101. And if it's a rule that you don't understand, or it's a rule that to you doesn't make any sense, you might want to consider another
and it's
hobby.
not even a real rule. It's an unwritten.
Well,
it's an unwritten rule.
It's a code. It's a code, a gentleman's code, a racer's code with each other.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it might not be a rule, but track officials will consider where you were when someone got dumped, or what, you know,
or spun.
You have to. You have to. It's part of the sport. I mean,
this will help. This will save you from
embarrassing yourself.
Yeah. Number one.
Yeah.
It being a racing deal,
right,
or a black flag.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what will happen. And we don't like seeing the black flags, and we've seen too many of them this year. But guess what? It's racing. It happens. But let's try and cut back on them. Okay, now I'm starting to calm down.
I'm looking at this Swear Trucking chat line, and my goodness, there is conversation on here about flipping this field at Willamette Speedway for bonus money. And Roger Snyder. Now, some people when they stir the pot, they get a spoon, and maybe even a wood spoon.
He's got a freaking oar, doesn't
This dude's got an oar, a full-on. I mean, a big one, like those ones you use on the stand-up paddle boards. You know what I mean? He's over here, and he's trying to put it out there for everybody. He says these guys just can't drive through the field that say no. Schneider,
wow,
hardcore to the floor. A little too much barbecue sauce there, buddy.
Hey, we all know what goes good with barbecue.
Racing. Let's flip it. Let's take the challenge. Get some bonus money up. It's the last week of the year. Let's go for it. I'm all for it. I mean, as a fan of the sport, I'd love to see it, you know.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's awesome.
Oh.
So, the racing zones. I'm glad we talked about it. We've only been on the air for a little over 2 hours, but because of the update that took place, it put us behind. It's almost 9 o'clock. It's 8:49. Do you guys have anything you want to address here in the?
I don't know. Dom's got something on the tip of his tongue. I'm trying to figure out what it is here.
Nothing really.
Oh, come on.
It's just I've spent a lot of time here all day today, so we've been getting prepped for the new store in Lebanon. So it's we're opening October 1st. Supposedly, it's going to be the opening day. So
right.